This is a video to say that I was wrong, which doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, I usually make a video to correct it, and that is this video. So, back in May of 2019, I made a video on how elements work in Save the World, and I used a lot from this gameplay here to essentially say that these charts were off a bit. Now, if you Google how elements work, this is one of the top things you'll get. I'll try to link this down below, but if you just do Fortnite elements, it's pretty easy to find in the charts visible in the stream here. So basically what it's saying is that you will do 100% of a weapon's damage to a physical husk normally. Like, no matter what element you're using, you will always do 100% of your damage with no debuff plus whatever the percent says. So if you guys have never really looked at a weapon and thought about it, you might not have actually noticed this, but every weapon element has plus 20%, and physical actually has a plus 44%. So you are actually doing 44% damage on top of it. Physical versus an elemental enemy will do half damage, so that's why you can see if it loads in a second here. You'll be doing 50% towards elemental enemies if you're using physical. So even though it's 44% instead of 20, it's still much superior to, well, not use physical. And that's basically what this is saying, is if, water will do 100% to fire, nature will do 100% to water, fire will do 100% to nature. It's as simple as that. And as far as building your defenses, it's important to remember that elements matter there as well. Anytime there are physical husks, always use metal. Metal is the strongest. Anytime there's a fire husk, it'll actually do double damage to the wood builds, which you should never be using anyway, but it's good to remember that. And water zombies will do double damage to brick. So if you ever get like a water modifier and metal corrosion, that's where things get tricky, and I can refer you guys to a chart on screen here. I just drew this up myself in case you guys need to remember. One thing is very important to note, actually. Metal corrosion tends to only activate, so that's a modifier where, metal ticks away over time, but that only activates when a base level zombie attacks it. So typically in the highest level missions, this isn't really relevant to your max level player, but in the 160 zones, the only thing that's going to stop a smasher is max level metal and a base. Brick is usually just not going to be enough. And knowing that the smashers aren't going to activate the metal corrosion anyway, I pretty much always use metal unless it's nature. Nature does double damage to metal, and in that case, it is better to use brick. And it's a good thing to remember going forward in your missions. Again, even in the lower level missions, maybe in the lowest level missions, but as soon as you get to like high Plankerton and beyond, do not build with wood. It is never the best option. Even water, metal corrosion, brick is going to be fine. It's going to be better than wood. That's for sure. But in my video, I went as far as to say that the elements did 75% to themselves, which is not the case. And it kind of upset me to find out that I was wrong, only because I thought that an element doing 75% to itself, which is the exact same as energy, was kind of fair. It made sense to me. Now, if this is just way over your head and you click this video trying to learn elements, basically water versus water is 67%, and fire versus fire, 67%, and energy versus any element is 75% of your total weapon damage, which was kind of annoying for me to learn initially. I'm like, wait, so anytime I shoot an elemental zombie, I'm just doing less damage, period? And the answer is yes. The only time you're not doing less damage is if you match, like I said. So if this water hemlock was being used against a fire enemy, it would be doing all of its regular damage, business as usual. That's why, if you look at my inventory and many high-level players' inventories, we have lots of copies of weapons just for all the different elements. My bundle bus, I have 3 different copies. This one's not changed to nature. I don't use the bundle bus often. If you look at my ground pounders, I've got an energy one and then fire, nature, water. If you look at my hemlocks, I actually have 9 of them just for the different 6 perks. But yeah, water, fire, nature every single time. I only ever use energy if I only have 1 copy of a weapon, or if I'm doing it for like testing a video or something, just to keep things consistent and easy. I always try to match my elements. In fact, I can actually show you if you go to the map. If you're ever running a 4-player mission, go to the mission info, you'll see something like this. Firestorm changes all elemental enemies to fire. So I can very easily just pull up a water enemy, or a water weapon, I should say, bring it into this mission, and I will be doing all of my damage. So today, we were running this Deliver the Bomb, this nature mission. So I was using my fire hacksaw. So that's kind of exactly how that works. And I was upset to find that I was incorrect, because I thought that, an element doing 75% to itself was the same as energy. That would make sense. But this one test was wrong for a lot of reasons. I only tested for like a minute. I looked at the raw actual file on my computer, which I still have, and it was only about a minute long, and I did not account for suppressive fire, I don't think. So again, another thing you guys might have overlooked all these years. It's easy to forget that soldiers have this. If I go to Rescue Trooper Ramirez, who I was clearly using in that video, you have suppressive fire, which is adding 3% damage every time you hit an enemy. So in all of my footage, I was just doing more damage the longer I focused on a single target. Stay Frosty, same deal. If you get 3 kills, you just do more damage now. So I threw on a ninja to clear away that suppressive fire, went into a mission with my different hemlocks, that's why they were different elements, and went up against a nature smasher, and I just shot it a few times. I used fire, I used water, I used nature, and I did the math on those numbers, and that's kind of what I saw right here. And this was versus this nature smasher. Energy was doing nearly exactly 75%. Nature was not even 66.6 repeating. No. It was like 66.999%. Like, it was definitely 67%. Fire did 100% of the damage, did exactly what it said on the sheet, and water was reduced significantly. If you use the wrong element, you're basically doing no damage at all. It's hardly worth firing. So yeah, here's a mishmashed guide to elements along with me being wrong. It's almost good that I was wrong and all these charts have been correct all these years, because if you just Google Fortnite elements, it's a lot quicker than a video. But you know, I just wanted to make this correction because I've been giving people bad advice for 2 years. But there is a silver lining, and that's that I think the reason nobody's brought this up to me in the 2 years that I've been wrong is because 67% and 75% are only about 8% away, and that is not a noticeable amount of damage. I didn't notice it all these years. Nobody has challenged me on this once. I had one person's comment right here on screen who inspired this video. He actually went in game and said, no, Beast, you're wrong. And I went, oh my god, Pika gasp. It's time to make a new video. So hopefully this cleared things up. I will try to be more forthcoming in the future if I find any more mistakes. Thankfully, there don't seem to be a lot. I'm pretty keen on updating my videos, getting the good information out there. So yeah, subscribe for more correct information, and I'll see you guys next time. And then